Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tori. If you haven't met me before, I'm really excited that you're here. I am just now getting back into the vlogging and vlogging life. I did it a few years ago, kind of tested the waters. I fell off for a little while just because I had other things going on at the time, and so I didn't really get to dedicate a whole lot of my time to that, but I'm back now. I'm ready to start doing it again, and I'm really excited that you're here with me and that you're starting this journey with me. I did have another YouTube channel that I had previous videos on, but due to the great security that they have nowadays, I wasn't able to get logged back in there. I used a German phone number to get in there before, and so I just don't have access anymore. But we're starting fresh, we're starting new on this channel, and this is where you'll get all your new updates and stuff. So I just really hope that you subscribe to my channel, and if you want to see more videos, please click the bell so that you can get notified every time I come out with a new video. Today's video is really close to my heart, and I felt as if the very first video that I put out to the world, especially during all the COVID going on and all of these other things happening in the world, and I really wanted to bring light to some situations. And I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a student, I'm a worker, so I just felt like it was important to come on here and just keep it real with you guys and give my story. And I just want other moms especially to know that you're not going through certain things alone, you're not feeling certain things alone, you're not the only one going through those things, and it's important to know that you have people there for you. And so that's why I'm coming on here and I'm sharing my postpartum experience, how it's been so far, the challenges that I've been going through, and basically why it's okay, and to let you know that it's okay if you're having certain thoughts, if you're having certain feelings, and basically how you can overcome those things, because it can really take a toll on your mental health and your body and your relationships around you. So that's why this is super important that I come to you guys today just super raw and open, because it's my personal information as well that I'm putting out there. So I just want to be as vulnerable as possible and as honest as possible, so that we can just have a great connection and we can start off really, really fresh. I am a mom of 3. I have a 2-year-old daughter named Riley, and I have 2 twin girls. They're a month old, and their names are Nora and Everly. And that's mainly what this is going to be talking about, is how it's been since then. I'm not gonna go too much into how my pregnancy was. I think I'm gonna do a separate video for that, because I have a lot to say about being pregnant with twins. So I think I'm gonna say that for another video, but for this one, I just, just to dip your toes in, my pregnancy was pretty rough. So I was really, really excited to finally have them. They say to really enjoy it while they're in your belly, because when they come out, that's when all the hard work starts. But to be honest, I was really, really relieved when they finally, made their appearance to the world. I had them a few weeks ago. Due to COVID, the hospital experience for me was a lot different this time than having my first one, because they're twins. It's 2 babies, not 1. So you're automatically dealing with a lot more. And on top of that, my husband was the only one allowed to be in the room with me the entire time we were there. And since I had a C-section and since I had twins, they wanted me to stay a little bit longer in the hospital, just to make sure that everything was going okay. When Nora was born, she was born first, 12:09, and then Everly at 12:10. She had to be taken to NICU right away because she was gasping a lot and having a lot of breathing problems, which, you know, we were able to get her back after the first 6 hours, but of course that was really nerve-wracking for me the first 6 hours, and that, you know, I was really tired and I was trying not to be low about it, but she was the baby that during my pregnancy was having all the complications. She had a shadow around her heart, she had liquid in her kidneys that they were monitoring, and so when she was born and had to be taken in NICU, I was really scared. So that kind of started all the anxiety for me. You know, I like to consider myself a positive person, right? I like to look on the brighter side of things whenever, however often I can, but that on top of being completely exhausted was just a lot to handle for me, especially just in the first 6 hours. And then I was getting taken to the room. I had overall great nurses that were helping me. However, at this hospital that I birthed them in, the babies stay with you the entire time. They don't have a nursery that they go to. So it was constant, like, me getting up to check on them, my husband getting up to check on them. We were just going back and forth, and then the nurses try to help when they could. Something that was personally important to me was to try and breastfeed them, and they were really struggling to latch on, and so I had depression about that. I was crying about it because, you know, I just felt like I wasn't feeding them, they weren't eating, you know, and so I tried pumping, and that seemed to help a lot. I was getting quite a bit of milk out during that, but I had a similar issue with my firstborn. We were good for a little while, but then I started producing a lot less, and around 4.5 months is when I started to transition into formula. And, you know, whatever feeds your baby is what's best for them, whatever makes them grow, right? But that was something that was extremely important for me to give to my firstborn, and when I wasn't producing enough milk to give it to her, that made me really depressed and really sad, and I felt like I wasn't worth anything, you know. And then on the other side of it, you know, for example, now since I'm feeding 2 babies, you know, I sometimes feel like I'm just like a factory, and, you know, they come and get product from me, and that's basically what it is, because, you know, you can't leave the house for more than 4 hours without having to come back home and pump. So I'm sitting here pumping every 3 to 4 hours, you know, making sure that my breasts don't hurt, that I'm not leaking out everywhere, that my babies are getting fed the right amount, and it can be extremely overwhelming. I just remember the first week coming home after they have been here, and, you know, I usually shower with my oldest because, you know, it gets done, you're cleaning yourself, you're cleaning your baby, and then y'all are both clean. You don't have to worry about giving them a separate bath, you know, just to like save time. And so this was the first time that I had showered by myself in a really long time, and I just cried in the shower. I just cried and cried because I was tired and I hated the way my body looked and I felt gross about myself. You know, my hair was gross and everything, and so it was just a lot of overwhelming feelings that were coming to me because, you know, motherhood is one of the, if not the hardest things that you'll ever have to do in your life. And sometimes you just feel like, ugh, am I gonna make it through the day? Or sometimes at the beginning of the day, if it's already going bad, you're like, is this really how it's gonna be for the rest of the day? Do I really have to go through all this? And you know, you want to feel like Wonder Woman. You want to feel like you can take on the world and be there for your kids, be the best version of yourself that you can be. And so we take on a lot of pride, and oftentimes we refuse to ask for help. And I'm here to tell you, ladies, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Now, one of the things that I noticed with my postpartum is, you know, I had a lot of family here to help me. My husband's mother has taken a lot of time. Luckily, due to COVID, the one good thing from COVID is that it caused my husband and my mother-in-law to work from home, so they were both able to be here and help me during that process. And you know, my mom was able to stay here a few days and help out. And so there was just a couple times where, you know, even though I was getting all this help, I just wanted a couple days just alone, like with nobody around. You know, you know, when you have all these people helping you and things like that, it's great, but sometimes you just feel overwhelmed with everything that's going on. You know, it was nice to finally be able to walk around the house like without any clothes on. Like, you know, it's just one of those things. I mean, and like I said, everybody's been an extremely great help, and I love it every time they're over. But there's two sides to it, right? Don't be afraid to ask for that help. Don't be afraid to say, can you please just come over? They're most likely willing to come over and help you and be there for you. And so don't be afraid to accept that, because it's really important to know that there's people out there that are willing to love you and care about you and be there for you. And especially, you know, if you don't have a lot of relatives that can come and help you, then maybe one or two really, really close friends, because obviously you don't want a ton of people around your newborns either. They're able to come and help and be there for you and assist you with whatever you need. And then on the other side, you know, every now and then just allow yourself to have that break. Don't feel guilty about, you know, taking some time for yourself either. Everybody needs a break. And working together is something that goes a really long way. So that is one of the main things that I wanted to point out in this video, because I know that us as moms, we want to do a lot of things ourselves, and of course we're very particular about how we do certain things, and so it's really important to establish boundaries and say how you feel, say what you would like, what you wouldn't like from the beginning, so that there's no confusion, and just be honest with everyone and just be super humble and grateful for anything that you receive. And hopefully, you know, if you do want your space, then they'll be more understanding about that. The other thing is, don't be afraid to get frustrated. One of the biggest guilts that we can feel is just having any anger in our body, and you don't want to bring that around your children. Of course, you never want to put your child in any situation that would make them feel like they're in danger. But every now and then, you know, you get super sleep deprived, and as a mom with twins, I remember just the other night, I was going back and forth. I would wake up and feed one baby, fall asleep, and then immediately the next one would wake up, and they were on opposite schedules. And finally I was feeding them at the same time, and they both didn't want to eat, and then they just started wailing, both crying at the top of their lungs, and I had to just put their bottles down and walk out of the room. I needed to get my composure. I needed to take a breath, take a step. And a lot of the times we feel guilty about that. And you know what? People get tired. And a lot of times when you get tired, there's a lot of frustration that comes with that when you're being forced to push yourself to do something that, you wouldn't rather be doing in that moment. And so it's really, really important that we just take those few minutes, because your baby can handle crying for 5 minutes while you go get your composure, because that is more important than you having the risk of yelling at your baby, jolting around your baby, shaking your baby, harming your baby. Because they're just fragile, innocent little human beings, and they needed to be treated in the most special way. That's one of the ways that they communicate, and when they're just going on and on and on and on, it can be really overwhelming sometimes. And so it's really important that we, as moms and as parents in general, get our composure, take a few minutes, take a deep breath. We just get our composure and just get right back into it, because you know what? You had these children and they need you, because you are their safe zone. Once you cuddle them, they are just comforted, because you have to remember that they have been in your womb for 9 months, and that's what they're used to. They're used to being really close to you, and they want that protection. Communicate with yourself, knowing you've had enough. And again, don't be afraid to ask for help when you're really tired. Ask your partner to step in, and don't feel guilty about that either. Sometimes you just need a little break. And if you're on the other side of that receiving end, then, it's really important to be constructive in these times. And if your spouse is asking you to help them, I think it's also important for you to just step back and realize that they just need a moment. And if you're accepting of that, then it will go such a long way in your relationship. You know what? I hate all the stereotyping. You feel whatever you want to feel. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what anybody else says, because at the end of the day, it's what is important to you and what your values are and what it means to you to make yourself feel good about yourself, right? Okay. So one of the things that I always hear, especially after women have had babies and stuff, they're like, oh, you're fine. You know what? You rock those stretch marks, girl. You rock those scars, because you know what? You just had a baby, or you just had 2 babies, and it's fine. And I'm over here, that was part of the reason that I cried in the shower, because I was just hating my body. And I feel that way because I feel that way, It has nothing to do with the fact that I had 2 babies. I'm really happy that I had 2 babies and that they came out happy and healthy, but that's not to say that I don't miss my old body either, and I shouldn't feel guilty about missing my old body, if that makes sense to you guys, because I feel like a lot of women say to other women, why should you feel that way about yourself? And I understand in a way they're trying to pep you back up and make you feel good about yourself. But at the same time, if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel, and there's nothing wrong with that. And luckily nowadays there are a lot of ways that you can take care of those things if you wanted to, and nobody should make you feel bad about that. If you want to get rid of your scars, if you want to get rid of your stretch marks, if you want to feel good in your skin again, then you take the necessary steps to do that. And if somebody else comes along and says, this is completely normal, like you should be happy in the body that you're in. If you don't feel that way, then you don't feel that way, and that's just the bottom line. So I know that I am one of those people. I was really expecting to look worse because I don't have as much elasticity in my skin. So I do have some stretch marks on my tummy and just a slight bit of sagginess, jiggles a little bit down there, right? But for me, what I find important is, what am I gonna do to make myself feel better about myself again? What is it gonna take for me to want to wear a bathing suit again? Like that's my end goal. In a year, where would I like my body to be? Because it's not gonna happen overnight, and I just had them a month ago, so I need to go into this with the realization that it's not gonna happen overnight, but that there are some steps that I could take to make me feel better about myself and not feel guilty for wanting to feel better about myself, right? We have these things that come up, and we have these moments where we just cry and we feel angry, and we can't just go out to the store anymore if we wanted to. It's a whole process, getting bags together, getting your kids in the car, taking them, making sure they have everything that they need, including yourself, including your partner if you have a partner. It's just so many things that add to the list, and it can be overwhelming. And as a mom, you're trying to make sure you're ticking all your boxes, making sure that you're not going crazy, because you got to have all your stuff in order so that everybody can have all their stuff in order, right? That's typically how it goes. Not all the time, but typically. And so at the end of the night, you're like, oh my God, can I just get a glass of wine? So I'm here to tell you, guess what? You're just like every other mom. But I just think it's important to know that you're awesome. You're doing a great job. And if you are having extreme postpartum depression, then please talk to a professional, talk to somebody that you trust, and get those emotions on the table. Figure out what's gonna work for you, and figure out how you can get back to a better place. I always tell myself, oh, I can sleep later, I can do laundry now and just get it over with. But every now and then you just need time to heal, and it's really important that you're taking care of yourself and your body, because when you're taking care of yourself, then you can take care of those around you that you love. And so if you are going through any of these postpartum issues, then I want you to know you're not alone. I've gone through this. I'm currently going through this. So I just want to make sure that everybody on here knows that they're valued, especially all of you mommies out there. You're just so special, and you're doing a really, really amazing job. And this person over here may not agree with you, but if you're doing what you feel is right and it's not harming the child and it's good for their health, then you do you, boo, because guess what? You birthed them. You spent 9 months carrying them around in your womb, and you're the decision maker. You and your spouse only. That is very, very important, because at the same time, you don't want people walking all over you. You don't want people making decisions for you, right? Take that advice, but have leadership in your own parenting. Have leadership in your own parenting, and know that eventually everything will be okay. And you're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that at all, because we all have bad days. And so you just continue taking care of your kids, taking them to school, doing your online schooling if you're doing that, taking them to their games, running them around everywhere, you know, everywhere they need to go for their extracurricular activities, making sure they're fed, you know. It's not gonna be organic pasta every night, but you know what? They're getting fed. And just know that you're doing a good job. And that is mainly what I wanted to discuss today, and just say I love you all so much, and I just really appreciate you sitting down and just being so patient and taking the time to listen to this video, because it's really important. It's important to know that you're valued. And of course, if you ever need anyone to talk to, feel free to DM me anytime. I'm here for you. And I will link below the hotline for suicide prevention and other phone numbers that you can use for depression and things like that. So thank you all so much for spending today with me. This was really exciting, my first video back. I'm really excited to be back, and I can't wait to see what else I come up with. Again, please subscribe. That would mean so much to me. And if you like this video and want to see more, please click on the bell so that you can get notified when I put out more videos. And thank you for spending today with Tori, and I will see you guys later.